it going? Hold on. I just want to make sure it's going. Yeah. Blue.
You said the couch is no good, right?
It doesn't look as good.
All right.
Why, you're not comfortable?
I don't know. I feel like we're like stiff when we sit on these chairs.
It does look better when we look at the thing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I like both. I like back and
and
forth.
forth?
Yeah.
All right, whenever you're ready.
Are you, it's recording? It's rolling?
Yeah.
Welcome to Dragon Fist and Spiritual Bliss podcast. And this is going to be a good one today. So we usually don't talk too deeply into politics, but I think that the way the country is right now, it's a good time to talk about politics. And I wanted to ask you the first question, which is, if somebody is stealing, let's say, right? Mm-hmm. But they're stealing for the poor, does that make it okay?
Like Robin Hood.
Like Robin Hood, yeah. Like modern day Robin Hood.
Well, people like use this excuse of like, oh, I'm stealing from Walgreens or big corporations, so it doesn't matter. But I think it matters for the culture. For like the overall, like we have like a looting culture that I think, I don't know where the people, where their morals are that they, and you know, we're going to talk about AOC, I know in a little bit. She was out defending them saying, oh, these people just need bread, but they're out looting Gucci and Nike.
So where does it end?
Do they need bread or do they need Nike gear?
So where does it end? A friend of mine is running against AOC for a congressional seat. And basically what he's saying in his videos is that, and this is why I'm asking you about taking it too far, because some would say he takes it too far. Some people say the government is taking it too far. So in this case, right, he's telling me that New York City is paying $500 a night for migrants to stay in these hotels, but they were only paying $125 a night for actual New York City homeless people. That's number one. Number two, these guys are riding around on e-bikes. Where are they getting these e-bikes from? Wearing Tommy Hilfiger and Polo and nice Nike sneakers. Where's all this coming from? So is Eric Adams stealing from us to give to migrants so that they can have a better life? Explain the logic to me of how we get to that point.
It's even more disturbing than what you're insinuating is disturbing, but it's even worse. What it actually is we're paying for it. So the migrants that are coming are incentivized almost to $10,000. That's how much they're receiving in housing benefits. There's full towns that are popping up that are all migrants now. So up to $10,000 they're receiving. It's taxpayer money. So
right. So is it being stolen from us though, or are we willingly giving this money to them?
We're paying our taxes. We have no control over what they do. And you know, it's funny you brought up the migrants, because if you were to take all the migrants that came in under Joe Biden, it would be larger than North Dakota, South Dakota, Wyoming, Vermont, and like one other state combined. That's how many people we've brought in the last 3 years. It's an invasion, and that's why you have the governor in Texas just declared an invasion, and you have Biden trying to come down and take the wall down that he's building. He put up razor wire. Biden has U.S. troops going in and cutting it down. For what purpose?
So what's the difference between a migrant and an asylum seeker?
Well, if you say that anyone can claim asylum for any reason, asylum is supposed to be if you're in danger, political persecution, religious persecution, victimization of some type of hardship coming out of your own country that you need protection here.
So tell me something I don't know then. So tell me something I don't know. The asylum seekers from before, because I know there's a bunch of different countries that are 100% allowed to stay, people from those countries are allowed to stay in this country, right?
Yeah.
And they have a certain immigration status that says that they're an asylum seeker and they could stay here for as long as they want. Are those people vetted?
No.
So the asylum seekers aren't vetted and the migrants aren't vetted, or were the asylum seekers vetted?
Well, see,
I gotta look that up.
It's confusing because now everyone is claiming asylum. They're just coming, they're surrendering.
But there were certain countries, though. There were certain countries that were allowed to seek asylum here. So let's look it up. Are asylum seekers vetted? Let's see. Refugees under consideration for resettlement are intensively vetted through multiple security screenings and background checks in processes that takes on 18 to 24 months.
Yeah,
So
but we
according
know
to
when they come in and they turn themselves in and request asylum, they get a ticket to come back. So they get let into the United States.
the point of
That's my point.
the point that I'm trying to ask you, though, the question I'm trying to ask you, and maybe you don't know, maybe I don't know, but what I'm trying to ask you is: are migrants of today the same as asylum seekers from 5 years ago? Are
not.
migrants today the same as asylum seeker? Are migrants today the same as asylum seekers from 5 years ago? Or were the asylum seekers from 5 years ago vetted by this country to be able to come into this country?
It goes in waves. It depends who the president is. They were more vetted under Trump because he wanted to let in less people. The Democrats know, they're not stupid, and they know that 60 to 70% of migrants will vote Democrat if they let them in. So those are good numbers for them.
But they can't vote, they're not citizens.
Well, you had just had AOC. I just heard her say, oh, if we have such a problem with it, why don't you give them a fast path to citizenship? She just said it. I just heard her say it.
Well,
Why
I know
does
they
she want that?
I know they rejected that law. The law that was allowing them to vote in municipal elections, they got rid of that law. That law got canceled.
But why does she want it? Because they want to create a voting population where they always win. So they're literally changing the demographic of our population on purpose, and it is an invasion. The number one responsibility of the federal government is to protect our borders, which they're not doing.
Well,
they don't even do that.
Back to the
They're doing
original
opposite.
question, though.
Yeah.
When is it too far? So, is it too far down the conspiracy rabbit hole to say, well, they're leading all these people into this country so that they could become voters? Or is it too far that my friend is screaming, my friend Jonathan Rinaldi, who's running for a congressional seat, is yelling at AOC at her press conference, yelling at Mayor Adams, holding these people accountable? Is that too far? Is paying $500 a night for the migrants too far? What's too far? How do we determine that?
It's long past too far. I mean, if you can't take care of your people here, what right do you have to try to bring in more people to replace them? No other country in the world does this.
Are we
Zero.
100% sure, though, that they're bringing them in for voter registration? Or are we just saying that because it kind of fits the narrative? What evidence do we have of this? Do we have any?
We have the evidence of liberals are the ones that are letting them in. Conservatives are trying to stop it, right? They're trying to stop the flow in the border.
Who, by the way, lost an election that they said was rigged, right? The conservatives lost that election, right?
They lost
So
that election.
it would help them if they brought in people that were going to vote for them, right?
Right, but these people are not statistically going to vote for them. And that's
Okay.
how we know that the left, just look at the evidence. They're letting people in an unprecedented scale. Like I said, bigger than 5 or 6 states put together. That's how many people they've let in. And if 70% of those people vote Democrat, that's a net positive win for them.
But what makes this different, right? So this is another conspiracy that we
That's
haven't...
not a conspiracy. That's just
we haven't,
logic that they also have
but
figured
we
out.
haven't
These are
proven,
smart people.
We haven't proven that these people will ever vote, right? We don't know if they'll ever vote. So what makes this different than the old school conspiracy that Republicans were taking dead people's social security numbers and voting under dead people's pseudonyms?
Well, they're trying to get them a path to citizenship. That's what they want. That's the goal, is to get all these people a path to being able to vote. So that is and why wouldn't they want to do that? It's a larger percentage for them.
So based on what AOC said, we're kind of drawing that conclusion that, hey, this would be super convenient for them that they let all these people in that are going to vote for them. And it was not happening under the Republicans or under the conservatives, which I'm neither one. I'm neither Democrat or Republican. I don't vote. I want to put the government in low demand. I don't want anybody telling me what to do, just like I'm not going to tell you what to do. And people say that's a conservative Republican view, but really it's not.
A libertarian view.
It's more of a libertarian, more of a super ultra liberal view, which I believe that nowadays that both of these political parties are, and you could tell me if I'm going too far, but both of these parties are religious extremist parties. And I think that the whole notion that right now, if you disagree with one thing that somebody in the party says, then all of a sudden you're an ally to the other party and vice versa, and you can't be somewhere in the middle anymore. When I was growing up, the beauty of the elections, but also the fallacy of the elections, was that everybody that was 25% to 0 was going to vote one way. Everybody that was 75% to 100% was going to vote the other way. And the Democrat and the Republican tried to get everything in the middle. There's no more middle. There's no more middle. So what do you do at that point? Now, the bad part about that, the fallacy of that, is that when you have people fighting for the middle, they don't get any policy passed because they don't want to piss off the people that just voted for them. They want their second term. They want all these, they want to win. And by winning, they end up doing nothing. So is it better now that we have Democrats in office that opened up the border and we had a Republican before that had the border completely closed? Or would it have been better? Did they both go too far? Did nobody go too far? Would it have been better just to have a smart policy where people are vetted before they come in? They're allowed to come in, maybe in more numbers than the Republicans allowed them to, maybe in less numbers than the Democrats allowed them to, but at least we're able to know who these people are. Is that impossible? Is that something that we can't accomplish?
Today we can't. Hopefully the pendulum swings back, because what you have now, what you're describing, is social media pushing us to the far extremes of our tribe. So the left is really far left and the right is really far right, right? And then what happens is, now if you're on the left, just a regular member of the left that's moved so far left, someone in the middle is to the right of you. So they look at you as to the right because you are to the right of them, even if you're a centrist from 10 years ago. But I think we're starting to see, I can feel the fabrics almost starting to crack with things like what happened in Harvard with the professors getting fired. I see they're starting to see DEI initiatives are not working out as well as they thought. If you look at United Airlines, their planes are falling apart. Passengers just noticed that they didn't have screws in the wing. Like, passenger sitting there was like, yo, and he was right, like the plane. So this is all DEI initiatives, people not being based on their merit. And I think it's starting to crack. The same with what you're talking about. Like, the whole political extreme is starting to crack. You can feel it. The immigration, it's boiling over. People are not, even the trans stuff, the LGBT, like, people are pretty much, I think, pushed as far as they can go. And then hopefully the pendulum will swing somewhat back to normalcy for both sides. And then we can meet in the middle. But it's not going to happen this year with Trump. And I don't think I'm almost 100% sure it's not going to be Trump-Biden.
So I want to go back to the LGBTQ thing at another time, but I want to just give you a nice little Marcus Aurelius quote, and that is that success is found in organizing the obscure, which goes along with the view that I have that if 80% of, a lot of my friends, they'll say it to me all the time. Well, we all think this, or this whole group thinks this, or this whole group thinks that.
Everybody knows this.
So look, this is what you're telling me when you tell me that, and tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong, okay? Either I'm really, really stupid, right? Or I'm really, really, really smart. Those are the only two choices. And when you look at me, I don't know what you see. I don't know what you see. Because usually the people that all agree on something are wrong. And the people that are outside the box are either too stupid or too crazy. And then there's the other side of that, the other side of the bell curve, the little tiny percentage that's smarter than you are and knows more than you. And that's why their view is different than your view. The whole, everybody thinks this view is not a way of gauging if something is right or wrong. Example, too far or not too far. I was talking to somebody, my brother, about a study on astral projection. The study was funded by the CIA, Stanford University. Legitimate study. The study findings were that there is efficacy to astral projection.
No, they did it.
Hold on. I asked him, the story's getting there. I asked him, now I know how you feel about Republicans and Democrats. You feel that the Democrats are right and the Republicans are wrong, and there's nothing that I could do to sway your opinion. I know that you feel that astral projection is completely and totally fake, and there's nothing that I could do to change your perception. But how about if I gave you a study done by a university that found it to be true? Would you then change your opinion? He said, let me Google it. He Googles it up. First thing, CIA says that this is fake. Now, he misquoted the Google, misquoted it because all it said was since 1996, the only reporting that the CIA had was that they haven't used it. Not that it's fake, not that it doesn't work, just that they haven't used it, which is in the interest of our national security for them to say that they haven't used it, even if they have. And maybe they haven't used it because they can't find anybody that's good enough to use it.
No, but they have used it.
Well,
there's Freedom of Information Act documents about the trials.
The only
and
thing
where they went.
Yes. So the only thing that I've seen that's concrete, hardcore evidence that was declassified by the CIA
that's what I'm talking
was
about.
the paper from the 70s that was written from Stanford University, I guess it was, that was saying that it definitely works. That's the only thing that was declassified. They never declassified saying that they went to Russia. They never declassified saying they went to Antarctica. I didn't see that.
Yeah, I've seen the reports. There's a Y-Files video about it. Just came out. That's why it's so interesting.
You sure it's not just that one paper that was declassified?
Dude, he shows them on the screen, like with the redactions, and like the guy telling what he sees. They even have the guy's notes and drawings shown next to the actual like satellite footage that the guy drew. It's
You're
crazy.
talking about the one where he went to space and he went to Antarctica and he went to
Antarctica,
all these different
Russia,
places.
He went and he knew dimensions, like things that you couldn't.
He went inside,
possibly
supposedly
know.
went inside mountains and things like that, and saw
His
that there were bases inside the mountains. Yes, I saw
Antarctica.
that. I saw that.
Yes, that is documented CIA Freedom of Information Act releases.
So let's go back then, right?
Well, what does it mean, right? Like,
This is the point. So let's go back, right? So I then asked him, what should we talk about on our video? Because I want to know what someone like you, who is the perma bear, always negative, doesn't want to watch anything. Oh, you're not an expert at this. You're not an expert at that. Why am I going to watch you do this? Why am I going to watch you do that? Okay, so what do you want to watch? I don't want to watch you do anything. I said, nothing at all. He said, give me something where you could show me a study or some type of intellectual fact to prove your point. And I said, but I did that already with the CIA papers and the study from the university about astral projection. You still wouldn't believe it. And he said, oh, well, he used the typical religious extremist response, which is, oh, I'm sorry, you misunderstood me. I said that from my little bit of research, and then of course he went on to like say things about my personal character. You're too lazy. You don't look at things the right way. You don't go and do your own research on things, even though I'm the one who provided him with the research, right? He goes back and says to me, well, you know, I got to question everything. And I'm not willing to do the research to see if that study was true. So I said, okay, so you don't want anecdotes because I'm not an expert when I give you anecdotes. You don't want studies. So when is it too far? When are you too far down the road of being a bear that there's just nothing that's ever going to get through to you?
No, I was thinking that this whole time. He's just a closed-minded individual.
Andrew, if I ever get like that, punch me in the face, please. Please punch me in the face.
You can't get through to someone like that. He's brainwashed, actually, by the left.
You know how many
people on the left act like that? People on the right that I know are very willing to change their minds about things, to hear new information. The ones that I know. I've yet to meet someone who's like a real leftist that is open-minded about anything. Or that
you're on the right side of things, so that's okay. I'm not.
But you see that attitude you're describing is only on the
I'm
left.
going too far.
It's a hive mind virus. That's what Elon calls it.
Right.
The woke mind virus. And it won't
But it's
allow
on both sides, though.
any new information in.
But it's on both sides.
Like, I see it predominantly on the left, especially the attacking. You just described one of their tactics. He attacks your character. He personally hails insults at you. This is the racism attack, the transphobic attack. You're a racist. You're a transphobe. This is right out of their playbook. I don't see that type of attack coming in that way. The right, more I believe, tries to use statistics, but the left just doesn't care about statistics. That's what I see. And it's just emotion. So it's very hard to get through to somebody like that. It's very, very difficult.
So not like I give a crap about Republicans or Democrats, but I'm going to prove your point for you right here. But this is just one anecdote. So you can't even take it as fact because it's just one anecdote, right?
Yeah.
So I just recently have gotten on this like Vivek Ramaswamy fan, right? I'm a fan now. 100% I'm a fan. So I binge watched a lot of the stuff on YouTube, and I watched them on Charlemagne's show, The Breakfast Club, and they had some woman on the thing. I don't want to say it like that, but they had a woman on there who had served the country in the military, and she kept on trying to like question him about what he's done for public service, and like she was using like these weird tactics that I've never seen before. Like, were you the class president in your high school or college or junior high school? Like, that matters even a little bit. That does not matter whatsoever. You're a grown adult. You're talking about what happened when the guy was a child. And then she tried to say that his medical endeavors, where he like made billions or hundreds of millions of dollars developing drugs to save kids when they're 3 years old and developing heart disease medicine, was not enough of a public service to show that he wants to serve humanity because he made money off of it. And that goes back to our last video, which was that if you don't care about legacy, there's other easier ways to make money. But if you care about legacy, that's when you're going to go and become the best developer of medical drugs to save people's lives, because that's what you're going to get remembered as. And so what if he made billions or millions of dollars doing it? This is a great deed for society, even more so than one individual serving the country in the military. And that's my opinion, and maybe I went too far.
No, you have the correct, like the left, again, I'm sorry to say, is wrong about their premise. They think it's bad when an Elon or a Vivek makes billions of dollars because they think that they're taking more than other people, right? This is their general belief. Oh, you have too much, this person doesn't have enough. The problem with this view is they think it's a fixed pie. It's not a fixed pie. So when you get an Elon that comes in and creates Tesla, SpaceX, PayPal, Twitter, takes over Twitter, makes it X, this person is growing the pie. So now there's more actually for everyone. How many more people are employed that wouldn't have been employed if there was no Tesla, SpaceX, PayPal? Like, same with any billionaire, same with Vivek. He's growing for us all. He's not taking from us. It's not a fixed pizza where you get half and I get half. No, this is an evolving, growing economy that they're helping to build. So again, they're confused about their main premise. It sounds good, and it sounds like, oh yeah, fuck them. They have, like we were talking about earlier, the corporations, like they have too much, steal from them. But no, you're actually hurting everybody by doing that.
So if you steal from them to give to the poor, are you going too far?
If you steal bread to feed your family, I would ask you, one, why don't you have some type of, the left, there's tons of public assistance programs, social safety nets that we have here, socialist programs. Why aren't you taking advantage of EBT food stamps, unemployment insurance, food banks? Why do you have to steal it? I guarantee you, nobody is going hungry because they can't get food. Nobody.
I'm sure in small rural towns and things like that, that's more of an issue. But we're in New York City, okay? We're in, the surrounding areas. There's places where you can get food.
Absolutely. No question. So then it becomes, why are they stealing? They're stealing them like this, like social rebellion. But they're stealing Nike and Gucci and they're looting. No, 100% it's wrong. It's selfish. Like you said, the left is more of a religion than it is a social, political...
No, you went too far. Both sides are the same in that. You went too far.
I'm going to explain to you how the left is one, and if you want to explain to me, I can see the right being a religion with Donald Trump being the overall savior figure. I could see that. More on the left, where you're not allowed to question the doctrine, it's the religion of the self, right? This is why it's so terrible. It's this selfish, me. I only care about me, and I don't care about what's good for society as a whole. That's what I'm talking about. That's why you shouldn't steal the things.
So let me ask you a question. Are the soup kitchens and the public assistance and the public housing a good thing?
I'm sorry to go back to the left, but it boggles my mind. I'm going to answer that question. But they even have child sacrifice as one of their main religious staples. Fundamental to the left is abortion rights. It's weird, man. This is child sacrifice, the worst kind, to the altar of the self.
But can you admit that you're in the minority in that opinion?
I think people are confused. Like my mom is so big on like women's rights, and I'm like, Ma, you planning on having many abortions? Like you're like 70 years old. Like
But that's very selfless because she's not. She's 70 years old, so that's very
but
selfless
she's
on her part.
confused. To me, like in what context? We can get into this a little bit if you want. Besides rape, incest, and the mother's life being in jeopardy, is it not a selfish act to have an abortion? Why can't you give that baby up for adoption? Why can't you? I'm sure there's a ton of different assistance if you want to have the baby. Why do you have to kill it? That's my question.
Well, when
If
is
it's not
a
selfish.
life a life? Is it a life at conception? Is it like when you when you're by yourself and you pleasure yourself? Is that a life that you're wasting? Where do you draw the line?
There is no line. If
When
you're not
are you going
sick,
too far?
If your health is not at risk, and you haven't been raped, and it's not a baby from incest, there's no line.
So wait, so rape is the line, or incest is the line? What's the line? That's what I'm saying
telling
to you.
Risk to the mother. The risk to the
Risk to the
mother's
mother,
life.
okay.
She's going to die. If she has a risk
Right.
of dying if she gives birth to this baby. Rape, incest. Those are the lines.
So you want to tell people what to do with their bodies?
The left that just told me I had to get a vaccine or I was killing grandmas. Do I want to tell them not to murder babies? Yeah.
You see,
sure.
this is the biggest
They're hypocrites.
contradiction and conundrum that goes along with being so far in one direction. And that
And I'm not
conundrum.
telling them what to do with their bodies. I'm telling them what not to do with their bodies.
So
right? So they can. I'm not telling them not to have sex. They can do whatever they want, but face the consequences. Don't be selfish. That's what I'm saying. For selfish reasons. If you actually need an abortion because your life is at risk, okay, fine. But just to kill it because you don't want it, that's unacceptable to me, and ungrateful and selfish and all the things that I think are wrong with the left. And they embrace this as like this holy, like we need to be able to keep murdering babies. Like if you added up all the aborted babies, it's like more than the Holocaust. You know that, right? Like
So this
we're
is
just
this is what my feelings are on this whole topic, right? So if you're a murderer, right? Social justice is eventually going to get you. The laws don't have to be in place for something bad to happen to you if you're a murderer. If you're a child murderer or aborter or whatever you want to call it, then eventually, so if you're doing it out in the open, eventually social justice is going to get you. But as far as whether or not abortion should be legal or illegal, and whether or not it's on the far left or on the far right, or what each person thinks, I think both sides are going too far. I think that there has to be a clear definition of when it becomes a life, and there has to be a clear definition of the lines on when it's okay, or were you raped? Does it affect the mother? I feel like there needs to be clear lines describing it if it's going to be law. Do I think it should be law? Hell no, it shouldn't be law. Why does it matter to you whether or not I kill my baby? And if it was such a terrible thing to do to kill a baby, right, then wouldn't social justice get me? Wouldn't all my friends turn their back on me? Wouldn't banks stop lending me
because
money if they knew that?
Because they've changed the narrative to it's women's rights. It's not. They've changed the perception so well of what you're doing. You are killing a baby, but to them, it's just a medical procedure. Like there's no. That's why they call it a fetus, not a baby, because they've removed the emotional connection. But I'm not going to lie to myself about what's going on. Like that's what's actually in reality taking place. So, by your standards, like should a doctor be able to kill you?
I mean, will social justice get them? Probably.
Like in Canada now, they have medical assistance in dying. You can go to the doctor like a Kevorkian and have like a medical death.
Well, do I think he was wrong for helping people commit suicide? No, I don't think he was wrong.
But is it good for society?
Maybe, maybe not. I don't think that's up for you to judge, and I don't think it's up for me to judge either.
For us all to judge. It's
for
all
us to
our
collectively
society.
judge.
Yeah.
So look, Kanye West said something very, very important, right? Very, very important. And people have told me that I'm a far right-winger because of, I'm talking about not giving a shit if there's a law for abortion or not.
But you're not a right-winger.
But you're going to call me a right-winger, right? Because I like something that Kanye said. The crazy Kanye, the guy who goes too far. He said that we are living in a simulation and we are living in the Matrix. but not what you would think it is. When you're a 2-year-old and you climb on top of a table and your mom says, "Oh, you're going to get hurt. Get down from that table." Your whole life is a series of those tables. And everything that you do and everything that you say is mapped out for you because of that fear of all those tables that are stacking up, right? So you've had a different experience. I've had a different experience. Do I think that the world would be so different if social justice was enacted as opposed to military, political, and governmental justice?
Well,
I
we
don't
do
know that
have
it
a
would be so
social-
much different.
We do have a social justice,
But it's in its
things are
infancy.
acceptable, certain things are not.
It's in its infancy right
Well,
now,
it
though.
evolves.
As far as collective reasoning, it's in its infancy. But from what I hear, AI, Facebook, Twitter can all predict every event that's going to happen from here on out, and that was the purpose of its creation, so that they could track collective reasoning and see what's going to happen.
Well, you brought up a good point, which leads me to this question. If what you're saying is true, do we actually have free will, or are we just making decisions based on all these things that have happened to us? Could you have made a different decision? Because when your mom yelled at you when you tried to jump on the thing, the next time you didn't do it, could you have even done it? Like, or is it just the way that reality works? Like, for example, if you look at pool balls and you break like a rack of pool balls and they all bing, 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 like they bang off each other, is that how your life is? Right? Like, are you just it's just so complex you don't see it. It's like an illusion of free will. But everything that you do has a reaction on you, and this causes you to make the decisions you make, and you could not have made a different one.
Absolutely.
So you don't actually have free will. It just
I don't think
feels
so.
like you have free will.
I feel like you're just
Or do you? I'm still...
I feel like you're a programmed computer, and right now with AI and quantum computing, the endeavor is to recreate the human brain. You know, everything that we make is in our own image, right? Everything that we make is something about us. You know, we want to fly, so we make a plane. Now we're a human that's a bird, right? Yeah. So everything that we make is something that we've seen, done, experienced many, many, many lifetimes ago. Maybe not even like in your subconscious. I'm talking about like just the evolution of history happening in front of you. You know, people didn't think they could fly. Now they can fly, which brings me to another very important Marcus Aurelius quote,
Sure.
Which is, "If it's humanly possible, it's within your reach." You ever hear that one?
Yeah, I have. It's a great quote.
So that means that all that we talked about with needing a requisite of skill to begin with, and then maybe like having to like organize your thoughts differently or change things, everything is possible. Anything that you've seen done can be done.
Sure. But not by everyone.
Why not?
Because there's physical barriers to certain things.
But if you got rid of that table, right, and nobody told you not to jump off, and you jumped off, and look, people are going to have different experiences 2 years old. You may jump off, smash your head on the floor, and be brain damaged, and now you can never function in society again. You may jump off and do a flip off the table and land on your feet, and now you're Evel Knievel. Everybody's experience is different, and the programming becomes different because of the different experiences.
But you're still limited to this physical
until you're not
output that you have. Like, so I can't, because there's been a Michael Jordan, I can't do that.
So if you injected yourself, but if you
saying?
at 18 years old, before your growth plates closed, injected yourself with human growth hormone, do you think you could grow taller? You could probably grow to be 6-7 feet tall if you kept on going with it and kept your growth plates open. And at 18, you're an adult, right? Nobody's going to tell you what to do at 18 years old, right?
Yeah, it's possible. I guess it's possible.
But then why wouldn't you do it?
Like,
but then why wouldn't you do it?
You can do whatever you want, but there are physical limitations. That's what I'm saying.
But then why wouldn't you do it? You wouldn't do it because of the table and because your mom told you not to jump off the table, right? That would be the reason why you wouldn't inject the growth hormone, for fear, right? Fear is the most dangerous emotion that you have in your life. It protects you to a degree, but I mean, I would rather live without the fear, and I struggle every day maybe to not live without the fear.
Irrational fear.
Maybe to live without the fear.
Is really what you don't want. You know, a good, healthy, rational fear, I think, is good. But yeah, man, it's a complicated. We're all just trying to figure it out. So it's hard to know what would work in what situation and how far you could actually go. But I think you can go pretty far. is what you're trying to say. Like our limitations are not as much as we put on ourselves, right?
So has politics gone so by the wayside that my friend who started out as a nobody, and nobody to most people, he was, somebody to me, but started out with no political background, no experience, became a First Amendment auditor, went out with his camera, challenged the police, challenged the establishment, challenged AOC, challenged Eric Adams, and a lot of people were like, no, he's just a guy that's yelling, he's going too far, and now he's running for Congress, right? So he's viral on the New York Post, which I don't really love the New York Post, but he's viral somewhere for challenging authority, right? And for fighting for people to not have to change their gas stoves over to electric and basically make them poor. Yeah. And fighting for homeless people to have a place to stay instead of people who just got to this country a couple of months ago. Okay? So
they're trying to put migrant families in people's houses. Imagine.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Imagine you wake up and there's a migrant family in your house. Like, what are these fucking people thinking?
Well,
but what were you saying? Sorry.
I was just saying that he's fighting for all these things, yet people that don't agree with him, even if they do agree with him, say that he's going too far, right? So when are you going too far? Are you going too far by aborting a baby? Or are you going too far by aborting a baby that would affect the mother's health? Are you going too far by aborting a baby that was a product of rape? Where do you draw the line? What is too far? Are you going too far when you can't have your opinion changed by logic, by studies, by evidence, by anecdotes? When are you too far on one side that you can't even see in front of you because the crowd in front of you is so big that it's blocking you from seeing the truth?
When you can't change your mind about anything, like if I can look at you because you have blue hair and a rainbow shirt and I know your position on every single issue. I don't mean I can get on all the major issues, I already know your position. Well, then you're probably brainwashed because all my positions are not on the right. I have positions. I do think there should be a strong social safety net. I think that weed should be legal. So you can't go down my list and just check off every right-wing position. So if you can do that, I think that's a problem. I think you should be able to distance yourself a little bit on thought. And if you
but if you don't miss one box, if you miss checking one box, then you're a blue-haired liberal.
You think so? I think that only really goes on the other side.
I think that's on both sides. I think both sides are exactly the same when it comes to that. You don't agree with one thing that Trump says? And the funny thing is...
But look at Nikki Haley.
Right.
People like her.
But I watched Ramaswamy, right? Ramaswamy,
yeah.
I watched him get questioned about Trump calling people vermin, which he did not do. And you know what Ramaswamy's answer was? He said, I don't know why you're picking on his choice of words. What he was saying is that these people are living in terrible conditions. Ask me about that. Don't ask me about somebody else's words.
Yeah, I agree. Vivek is the best at that. And the left's going to have a real problem with them because they can't scream racism or any of those things because he's Indian.
But he backed out though. He's probably going to be Trump's vice president. That's what's going to probably happen.
But see, this is what I'm afraid of on the right is we already think that Trump is going to win and Vivek is going to be his VP and then Vivek is going to be president. But I'm not counting the left out. They're not going to just give this up.
No way.
They're not going to run Biden, I'm telling you. I think Biden has 30% approval rating, in the 30s, high 30s. No president has ever won re-election with that approval rating. The guy can't finish a sentence.
So what are they going to do? Michelle Obama? Are they going to do Hillary? What are they going to do?
Michelle.
Hillary lost too many times already, right?
They're going to do Michelle.
She only lost once, right?
Barack Obama runs this country anyway. He's the guy that's in charge. It's not Biden. Who do you think is the top of the Democrat Party? We know that Obama wanted Biden to change his political strategy for the re-election. Biden didn't do it. Obama leaked it to the press. So Obama isn't on Biden's... He's trying to get him to do what he wants. He's pulling strings, right? So it's going to be Michelle. The left is going to go crazy for her, and probably a Gavin Newsom as his running mate. And they're going to do this at the convention in August. Biden's going to step down for some reason, health, gaps. It could even be the collusion thing with Hunter, that now they just said that the laptop is real. Why did they say that? Well, now, if you say that the laptop is real, if you authenticate it, you're authenticating the fact that he got the 10% for the big guy kickback.
Right.
So in the future, they can say, okay, well, this leads to this. You have to step aside. Right? Why are they letting this come out now? And they're going to run a Michelle Gavin Newsom super ticket that no one's going to be ready for. And it's going to be real ugly, man. I'm afraid for what's going to happen. Generally, that's what I think.
So the whole trans movement of cutting your penis off and reshaping your vagina, your penis that was a penis into a vagina, wouldn't happen without Obamacare.
Yeah.
That's true. Because everybody is required to have health insurance now, right? Now, I'm butthurt. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. They went too far, right? They went too far letting insurance cover an elective surgery because of how somebody feels in their mind with no genetic backing, no possible way of proving this scientifically. Right. And I have these spots on my eye, and I talked about this before. You see those spots? Look at those spots. When I went to get those removed, they told me that I have to pay out of pocket
cosmetic
because it's cosmetic, and it hurts for me to touch those bumps. Those bumps are painful for me to touch. Yeah, you could go and get lifelong care because of how you feel or who you feel you are with no possible backing in science to say that this is the right thing to do. But you know what I'm going to tell you? I'm not going to tell you what to do. I don't give a shit what you do. But I will say this. If you're going to cover that surgery, please cover my surgery too.
No, they're not going to. It's just like the immigration thing. They do it for a reason. One, who's easier to control? Dylan Mulvaney or Dana White? Right? Who's more controllable? Big, strong alpha male or Dylan Mulvaney? Like just whether it's physically, emotionally, who can be controlled easier? It's going to be the man with no testosterone, no body muscle, that knows something's off in his mind, so he's like not really secure. It's going to be that guy, right? So they want that check. Then this person is for life, not basically a slave to the medical stuff. You have to go to doctor's appointments for the rest of your life. You need to be on medication for the rest of your life. So if anything happens and they just want to deny you that medication, what happens then? Complete control? Check. Easy to control? Check. Like they have all these... Sterile? Check. Like it's same as abortions. Like there's this same as pushing gay marriage, same as pushing transgenderism. Anything that's not hetero, nuclear, Christian, Judeo-Christian family. That's what they don't want because that's the biggest threat to their global government is a strong nuclear family that takes care of its own. So that's why they will give the trans person the surgery. It's you may say it's a conspiracy, but I'd like to take you down the reasons I'm saying this. This reason, this reason, this reason, this reason. It's not just, because. Same with what we were saying with the immigration. There's so many reasons. That's how we know why they're doing it. Because you could see the roadmap if you just look closely enough. And the people on top are not stupid. They're doing it, and they can figure out these same outcomes. So I'm going to assume that they know why they're doing it, right? That's my...
I mean, I guess so. I mean, it's just some of the stuff is a stretch. Like for me, gay is okay. Gay is fine.
It's just
I love gay. Gay means that there's more women out there. From me, my sons, and anybody else that wants a woman. That's great for me. Cutting off your penis, is it too far? I'm not going to tell you to do that or not do that. But I'm going to tell you that for me, that's too far only because you won't remove the spots on my eye.
No, you see, we have opposite opinions. I think it's not too far. Definitely let them cut their dicks off.
Yeah?
Definitely. If you're dumb enough to cut your dick off, you should have your dick cut off. We don't need you repopulating. Honestly, if you're that fucking brainwashable, that you can let somebody convince you that it's a good idea for them to take your dick and cut it off, to me, this is... you got exactly what you asked.
Well, wait.
That's number one. Number two, the gay thing, right? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with gay people. I'm saying that a straight nuclear family, Judeo-Christian beliefs and morals, is what's dangerous to a tyrannical government. That's what I'm saying. That a gay family that doesn't have any children, that doesn't have a religion behind them, because a lot of times gay people are not associated with Judeo-Christian religions, right, by choice. Most of them, some feel like they're not accepted there, but they don't want to be associated with that. They have the religion of the left, like we talked about. I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm saying that the overall effect is better for the left than for the right. That's what I'm saying. The effect of promoting this is more ideologically left than right. That's all I'm saying. I'm not putting a judgment on it.
So can I point out a contradiction?
I don't care, to be honest.
So can I point out a contradiction?
Yeah.
So you want them to cut their dicks off.
No, I think if you want to,
but you
by all
don't.
means.
But you don't want them. The same people that are destroying, that are the weak people that are destroying the Judeo-Christian nuclear family. You don't want them to get abortions. Why can you tell them not to get abortions, but you can't tell? But you don't want to tell.
But if they cut
people,
their dicks off, they don't have to worry about abortions anymore.
Right, but I'm talking about two. I'm talking about two separate things, though. Problem solved. Why would you tell them it's okay in this case and not okay in that case? Is it because of the baby? So what? So again, back to my point. When is it a baby? When? Tell me.
Immediately. Like you shouldn't kill it unless it's one of those reasons.
So then you cannot masturbate then, because that's genetic material.
I disagree. I'm talking about when there's a connection of the egg and the sperm. That is essentially like, if it was my birthday and you were having a big birthday party for me and you planned it, and let's say you studied for 9 months to make me this cake, right? Because you knew I love this kind of cake and it was really hard to make. And you got home, you got all the ingredients, you put it together in the pan, just about to start cooking it. You're about to put it in, and I come and fucking throw it in the garbage. How would you feel? Did you have a cake?
Well, I actually have.
Did you have a cake?
I have an answer for that. And the answer
it's
is.
fucked up.
And the answer is, what are you going to do? Are you going to charge them with murder? Is that what the consequence is going to be if they go and get a hanger?
Did I destroy your cake?
You did.
Did you have a cake?
No. So
that's the point.
So the point is, if they go and they get it done with a hanger outside of the medical field, are you going to charge them with murder?
Are you asking me if somebody takes a hanger and
aborts their own baby
and kills their baby?
Yes. Are you going to charge them with murder?
If I had a hanger here and I stabbed my dog, what would you think of me?
You're a murderer.
So
for
why
you,
is it okay to stab the baby?
So you think it's the same thing?
Inside? So open it up and take it out.
So if the mom falls down the stairs, is that because she's drunk? Let's say in the first trimester of her pregnancy, when she doesn't even know that she's pregnant, falls down the stairs. Is that manslaughter now?
I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. Are you allowed to drink in your first trimester? Is that legal?
Sounds like a mistake. You're not allowed to. But if you don't know you're pregnant, then how would you know?
Then no, I would say that's not murder because there's no intent.
Not murder. I didn't say murder. I said manslaughter.
I guess that's going to depend on the state where you live.
So you see the layers of this, though. You see that
but
it's
I don't
not
see
so
how it's
simple.
Connected to abortion. Abortion is you know what you're doing act. You've thought about it. You've planned this act. It's whatever they say.
But you cannot pick and choose.
It's a premeditated.
But you can't pick and choose. You can't say, well, we're going to go with the murder laws for if you kill your baby. But we're not going to go with the manslaughter laws if you accidentally kill your baby with no intent.
You accidentally killed it. It was an accident.
So if you accidentally slam your car into somebody and kill them, then that's considered involuntary manslaughter, and you get 6 months in jail for it.
Even if you're sober?
Yes, accidentally.
I'd have to check. I mean, I believe you. Listen, the legal system's not perfect, but I don't think accepting death is the answer.
But when is it life? It's life as soon as conception happens? According to who?
It just doesn't make sense to me that there would be any type of timeline because I would only give those reasons for you to be able to do it. So it doesn't matter.
So murder is okay in some cases, but not okay in other cases.
If you're going to die, I never said that I said you're killing babies. I never really used the term murder. Maybe I did. It doesn't have to be that term. You're just not allowed to do it. It just shouldn't be.
But it's okay if you get raped. Murder is okay if you get raped.
But it's not murder. It's an abortion, right? I'm not the one that took this stuff out. I think abortion shouldn't be legal. I'm not saying it should be changed to murder. I'm just
But
saying
what are you
there
going to charge
shouldn't
them with?
be
You're going to
any-
charge them with abortion? Think that's going to be the charge?
Why not?
So there's murder,
Yeah.
there's
why not?
manslaughter, and then add abortion
Why
to
not
the
have
docket.
a new category because it is like a different thing, like we're saying, so we can define it better for when there's a baby in the mother's womb. This is a new category. Yeah, charge them with abortion,
I'd have to think about
committing
that.
an abortion.
I'd have to think about that.
Why?
Totally don't agree with it at all, but I'd have to think about that.
I mean, you can find videos of like people that were like saved from abortion, like their parents like almost, and these people are alive. And like, I think that would change your view of it. Like, they even have this one kid, I just saw him, like he was like cryogenically frozen for like IVF for like 7 years. It's weird, man, when you see this person in front of you. Like, it's great to talk about.
You know
When
that I
see-
did 3 IVFs.
Yeah.
I did countless IUIs, and
Yeah.
then we adopted children.
Right.
So if anybody's gonna think positively about keeping babies, like, yeah, put them all into the adoption system, but that's not really what happens. That's not really what happens. And if you have more people having babies, so is it better to have a baby that's going to be abused and die anyway because the parents can't take care of it? I mean, there's too many layers to it for me to be able to say to you, you cannot abort that
Yes,
baby.
it's better to have that baby. Give that person a chance at life. People break out in beautiful ways and become things that we need for humanity. Like, just because you have a bad start doesn't mean, it's actually quite the opposite. I would argue that if you have a good start, you're less likely to have a giant impact on the world. But people that come and pick themselves up from nothing are often our most valuable. So I would say, no, don't kill. Like, I'm trying to understand from you, like other than rape, the life.
No,
of the
but if
mother,
you're going to say that, then I'm
incest,
saying get
other
rid of
than
all that. Get rid of all that.
where
Or keep every baby.
No, because you don't want a 15-year-old
No, you gotta keep every
girl,
baby.
But why?
'Cause you have to
But
keep
why?
every baby.
But you're the one that just said, can we get some type of normalcy? Not such a far. Why do we have to keep every baby? But why can't we find a normal? Like, what other circumstance would you like included in there? Because I just don't think it should be whenever you want because you feel like it. That to me is just selfishness. Like, oh, I just don't want this, so I'm going to kill it, is not acceptable to me. Like,
Well-
if there's a reason that's reasonable, right? The word reason, reasonable, that means most people would agree with it, then we can have a conversation. If it's reasonable. That's what self-defense is. If there's a reasonable threat that you have to act on, what does that mean? It means that would most people agree that this is a reasonable threat? Would most people agree that this is a reason you need to have abortion? Maybe it is you are economically destitute and this baby has nothing and you can't feed it. Maybe it is. I'm not even saying that's wrong. I'm just saying that because I don't want it, I'm going to fuck this guy, then I'm going to get a morning after pill, then I'm going to do it again, morning after pill, then I'm going to do it again. I'm not going to realize, because I'm probably some fat bitch, like, anyway, and at the end I'm going to just have an abortion. Like, no, absolutely not. Like, that to me is not acceptable. Like,
Well, there's a bigger
how do you
issue.
find that acceptable?
There's a bigger issue there. And the bigger issue
That's
there
just selfishness.
is men, because it always starts with men, strong men, choosing to be with multiple women and hotter women than good women. Did I say that right? The problem
Yeah.
is men choosing to be with multiple women that are hotter instead of being with good women who will take care of their children. So this whole thing is perpetuated by us. We're the culprits here in this whole thing. But before we end this thing off, and I'll give you a chance to respond to what I'm about to
Sure.
say, but I'm pretty clear on what I want to say to kind of like pull all of this together and get out of here feeling good about the conversation. Okay, so when it comes to abortion, right? I don't want to tell you what to do. I don't want you telling me what to do. I don't want anybody telling anybody what to do. When you agree to live in this country, because you can move, maybe not when you're a baby, but babies shouldn't have a right to choose whether or not abortion is legal or not anyway. People who are adults, who live in society, who it could affect, are the ones that have to choose. And I gotta tell you, I tend to believe that the laws on murder are on the books because people wanted them to be. And the laws on abortion are on the books because people wanted them to be. And until you have a balance of power where you can shift the programming, the Kanye West programming, until you can shift that programming, whether it be through less child support for babies, more child support for babies, less child support for babies, I don't even know what the answer would be. Maybe less programs for single mothers, more programs for single mothers, because it works both ways. Less programs for single mothers means they won't get pregnant in the first place. More programs for single mothers maybe means that they would keep the baby, right? Because both are viable options to not have a baby, right? Or to have the baby. Either way, it doesn't really matter. The point is, if the law is on the books, it's on the books for a reason. It's because people wanted it. And if you want the law to change, then that 51% of people has to agree with you, which of course, that may not be right, but that's what you signed up for.
And I agree with that. I agree with that. What's wrong with that? Let the people decide what they think is better. The problem becomes when we have this like brainwashing apparatus.
But that's what we live in right now. That's what we live in. That's why the 20% or the 5%, the 5% is smart and the 5% is really stupid. And then everybody in the middle gets to decide for the real smart and the really dumb, because the really smart and the really dumb are the minority. So we don't matter. The ones who have out-of-the-box thinking, who are trying to organize the obscure, as Marcus Aurelius would say, don't count. It's the idiots in the middle, or not idiots, but the people in the middle that are homogenous and want everything to be the same, who are the ones that are going to tell you, oh, well, everybody thinks this, so that's why it's true. Those are the people who are making decisions for you. And that's why, if you have a little bit of sense or no sense, you can break free from the matrix, live in poverty in the projects, getting welfare, and be happy as a pig in shit, or be a billionaire living in a mansion and happy as a pig in shit. It's when you're in the middle that you get depressed.
I agree. Perfect. Well, I think we should get back to this topic again. I think this was a good...
I think we got to talk a little bit more about the trans stuff on the next one.
Coming back soon.
Peace.